Alrighty, welcome back to another episode of Two Plane Sports. Today is Friday, January 5th, and we are back with another episode talking about the transfer portal, some recent commits, who OU's going after, and what could be on the horizon for Oklahoma over the next few weeks. But before we do, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Apple, Spotify, and TikTok. Everything is linked in the description below. And remember, turn the notification bell on so you know when we go live every Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Central and whenever we post videos like this. And if you hadn't already, be sure to go check out our video that we released last night talking about Oklahoma's new defensive coordinator in Zach Alley. He was definitely someone I was not. He wasn't on my radar initially, but granted, we didn't have much time from the dismissal of Ted Roof to the expected hire of Zach Alley.
Goes
We didn't
by
have much
fast.
time.
Yeah, it happens quick.
Yeah, for sure. So, Oklahoma, talking on the defensive side of the ball, before the Zach Alley hire, literally like an hour, hour and a half, Oklahoma was able to land a defensive end transfer, Caden Woolard from Miami of Ohio, coming in with 9.5 sacks last year, 6'5", 252 pounds, comes in, adds more depth, more talent to an already pretty talented defensive line group, but you add a guy that's kind of like that hybrid role, being 250, 260. He can play on the edge. He can play a little bit of the inside. He's not your nose tackle by any means, but he's very versatile to be able to kind of move around. Kind of like think of, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Jalen Redmond was kind of a guy that kind of comes to my mind. And then another guy is like Ethan Downs too, someone that's on the current roster. So adding Woolard, we always felt like they would try to go get someone in the transfer portal as at least one on the defensive line. This is a big get. I mean, I know it's Miami, Ohio, but 9.5 sacks, that's great production.
Not only that, 12 tackles for loss. Yeah, you mentioned the stats. He's first team All MAC last year. He brings a lot to the table. I mean, I think it's a consolation prize. I think we all want a Nick Scorn. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but the kid from Purdue, unfortunately, he went to A&M. But this is not a bad get at all. I think with his versatility that he brings to the field, like you just mentioned, he's a guy that I think will push for playing time right away. With guys like PJ, with guys like R. Mason. He'll be in some sort of rotation. I think he adds to the deepest position on the entire team, the most talented position on the entire team, or D-line group as a whole. I think is the deepest, the most talented. It's our best. It's our best position area on the team. So it's huge. I'm very much excited to see what he brings to the Sooners.
And adding a guy like Woolard, he was one of the better transfer available defensive linemen. We're not talking like, Walter Nolan was far and away the best one, and I totally understand that. But really, the rest of the pack was all solid, and I think Woolard was a fantastic get. He's a 4-star in the transfer portal. He's one of the top 10 edge players according to 247. So you add a guy that has a lot of talent that can come in, contribute immediately, and provide great depth. Again, I think you're going to see iron sharpens iron, and this is another instance of this. So big time get Miguel Chavis. Todd Bates, and then Zach Alley's going to be like, hey, that's not bad. I can just roll in, and I already got to commit on the same day. The report's coming out. That's a pretty solid day.
Yeah, dude, he lived in the backfield. I mean, you combine the 9.5 sacks and 12 tackles for loss. That's 21.5 plays made in the backfield. That's pretty good.
Yeah, and
they only play 11 games.
Miami of Ohio,
or 12, yeah,
yeah, 12, yeah. And then the fact that Oklahoma was able to shut the door. Oklahoma was his visit. He had another couple of visits scheduled after this. They slammed the door shut and were able to lock it down. And typically the good programs, for the most part, get a commitment. If you're the first visit, a lot of times they don't let you go if you're a high priority. So Oklahoma was able to do that, and definitely a big get. Another guy that Oklahoma landed, someone that I don't know how big of an impact he makes. At least he adds depth in Tyler Keltner, the Florida State kicker, but he didn't start for Florida State. Really started and played at East Tennessee. Comes in as a transfer to add some competition to the place kicker position. And that is a spot of desperate need for Oklahoma. Zach Schmidt has shown some inconsistencies, and
I think you're
Oklahoma
putting it
at
nicely
least,
there.
yeah, Oklahoma's at least aware, and they went out and found someone. Now, looking at Keltner's historical career numbers, I'm not going to sit here and act like he's been the best by any means. He's good at extra points. He hasn't never missed one. But every season that he started, he's been kicking the 70 to 80% range. And granted, that's not great, but that's not to say that he didn't get a lot better whenever he didn't play at Florida State. He could have been practicing a whole lot. I don't know if he starts, but at least there's some sort of competition there. It's not just one person. And then also Oklahoma's bringing in that 5-star kicker as well. So you're going to have now 3 players compete for that job, including Schmidt.
Yeah, I mean, this kicker, Tyler Keltner, or the 5, what is that? Is it Liam Moore, Liam Evans? I can't remember. He's from Moore. I can't think of his name. They have the opportunity to be the only kicker in the country who have a real chance to be their fan base's favorite player. Unfortunately for Zach Schmidt, he just at times he was that bad. He missed that kick against BYU from 24, 23 yards, and after that, like, I didn't trust him from anywhere. It was a real down season for Zach Schmidt. Unfortunate. I think anytime you add competition to that room, it's going to be fun. I hope one of these guys win, and Zach Schmidt doesn't, unfortunately. I don't want to sound like I'm praying for his downfall, but I think all of us are collectively ready to see a change at the kicker spot for the Sooners.
Yeah, or you know what? It might not even need to be a change. Maybe it's just more so this off season he's feeling the pressure, and maybe Schmidt might be able to drastically improve. A little bit of healthy competition at every position is a good thing and something that I think Oklahoma needs. So, and that's what they did here. So, I'm not sure how much he plays or what exactly it looks like, but here we are.
Liam Evans is the 5-star to Moore. I think I had that
Liam,
right. I can't remember what I said the first time, but
yeah,
I think that's the one that you want to see win. If he's a 5-star, if he's like that as a freshman, that would be pretty cool.
for sure. So let's talk about a couple of guys that Oklahoma is now targeting and trying to make a run at, after getting both those players. First guy let's talk about is Jake Roberts. So Jake Roberts, I wasn't on the live stream, but you guys did talk about him a little bit on the live stream on Tuesday. So, but anyway, Jake Roberts being at Baylor originally 3 years before at UNT, tied in 23 catches, 231 yards, and 1 touchdown last year. Granted, Baylor was not great at all. So I don't, I know those numbers don't jump off the page at you. But I think this is someone that Oklahoma, I mean, the tight end room we've talked about, is needing an addition, at least someone that's got some playing experience and things like that. And I think Jake Roberts fills that role. What do you think?
Well, 100%. I mean, you mentioned the 291 last year and a touchdown. He had almost 400 the year before at UNT, but he played for 3 seasons at North Texas, so he's very familiar with Seth Luttrell and what Seth Luttrell is trying to bring to the table. Just a ton of experience overall. Great size, 6'5", 250. I think if he makes the move to Norman, I understand you got Bauer Sharp. I understand you've got Caden Helms, who we really haven't seen yet. Devon Mitchell, who's going to be a stud, but he's very young. I think Jake Roberts, if he decides to commit, is going to be the one who likely ends up starting at tight end for the Sooners going forward, or at least for a year or so. And what also doesn't suck about Jake Roberts, as we talked about before we started recording, is he is the older brother of 2025 tight end Nate Roberts, who is sought after by just about everybody in the country. And I don't think it sucks to have his older brother having played for us in terms of our chances of landing him, who's also an Oklahoma kid too.
It doesn't hurt at all. But I still think that Oklahoma will recruit Jake Roberts even without Nate. But that's just like you said, just a nice added bonus.
Cherry on the top. Yeah, it doesn't suck.
Yeah. So I would think that Oklahoma would be the landing spot. I'd like to think so. You've got a lot of Seth Luttrell connections. Joe John needs a guy. I think this could very well be the guy, but we'll see.
You could argue tight end is the most wide open position on the entire team for Oklahoma. Obviously there's some holes at offensive line in some areas that we want that filled up, but there's no true proven starter in terms of tight ends right now.
Yeah, and I would argue this is the biggest position of transfer need, that and offensive line. Now Oklahoma's gotten a few offensive linemen, of course, but still needing to fill this up. And speaking of the offensive line, the last guy we'll talk about today, this is just a short video, is Michael Tarkin, coming from USC, transferred out. He originally was committed to Florida. I remember last offseason when he was transferring from Florida, Oklahoma was in the running for him. Tarkin services obviously was not the choice. Chose USC. He's more of a natural guard. Got put in at tackle, and at
didn't
times,
he play 4 years for Florida? If I'm looking at the right kid, 2019 to 2022.
Yes,
when he starts, yeah.
So he's played. He's appeared in 34 games.
You're talking about the portal recruitment window, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he went to Florida. It's just I just remember last year when we were recruiting him as well, and he chose USC. But he went to USC and basically played tackle, and he should have been a guard. And he didn't look the best because he wasn't put in a position that he should have been playing.
Imagine that.
Yeah, isn't that a weird concept?
Imagine that. Who's the guy head coaching down there over there?
I can't remember.
I can't remember either, but I'm pretty sure he sucks.
Yeah. So Oklahoma circling back. I saw Tarkin's dad tweet out like OU and stuff like that on his Twitter, and I believe Oklahoma's going to get a visit. It seems like Oklahoma is in a pretty good spot here. This would be their third offensive lineman transfer if they could end up getting him. I'd imagine he would have to make a decision relatively soon. I mean, the spring semester is starting here in the next week or so, week and a half. I can't remember, but Oklahoma, I think, is in a pretty darn good spot for Tarkin. And I think you plug him in at guard, you start to feel halfway decent with the offensive line, bringing in 3 transfers, and then you've got a bunch of young bucks behind them, and like a Jacob Sexton and those players to really fill the rest of the void. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the more the merrier as far as the offensive line goes. It is the biggest area of need that the Sooners have. The line was good at times, shaky at times in that Alamo Bowl, and that's nowhere near the line that I think we're going to have for this season. As a guy with good size, 6'5", 300, I also think it shows tremendous growth on his part to want to leave Southern Cal to come to Oklahoma. That is a huge improvement. That is a great business decision. He's going to follow the winners. He's going to try to start winning some games. But you just need more guys in there that you can even plug and play or even just compete. You want the best 5 out there. That area was looking really thin, when the offseason first started. I remember on the live stream, you kind of made yourself panic a little bit thinking about what that offensive line was going to look like going forward or what it was.
If they didn't do anything, it would be definitely panic mode.
I agree. So, I mean, you mentioned the 3. Now, if this would be 3 or 4 guys that we've landed from the transfer portal, let them get in there, let them compete, field the best offensive line possible, and it's starting to look like that. It's starting to look at shaping up okay. Maybe we could take our foot off the or our hand off the panic button just a little bit. Just raise it up just a little bit. Keep it closed, but raise it up.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll see what happens. It seems like that Tarkin and Tarkin's dad are at least interested in Oklahoma, and I feel like Oklahoma's got a pretty solid chance with them. So we'll see. But that's all I've got. Do you have any other thoughts or mini video?
No real thoughts, but it's a fun time, transfer portal time. How many total more? How many more kids do you think we land this year out of the portal in general? We'll end with that.
I don't know, 3 or 4 probably, because I feel like there's going to be some late transfers as well, that could end up, that's not in the portal now, that could end up after the spring game.
Yeah, I'd take a couple more online and I'd be good, and maybe Jake Roberts.
For sure. So made it this far. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on so you know when we go live every Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Central, and when videos like these get posted. And be sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Apple, Spotify, and TikTok. Everything's linked in the description below. We'll catch you guys next time.